Children, we are back talking about the futuristic franchise that should not be a franchise up to this point. Oh, God Almighty. This franchise. Kevin's back. That's a positive. Probably the only positive.
Hello.
So, as you can tell by the title, we are talking, unfortunately, about Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. Movie came out in 2001. Again, a huge gap between Terminator 2 and Terminator 3, which I guess that's like the biggest positive about this franchise as a whole is that there's a lot of gaps between each movie. Like, you'd be surprised, like, I was surprised to see how much of a gap there was between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. But Terminator 2 made a shit ton of money at the box office. So I would think that they would have been quick to make a sequel. Now, I guess, again, this is probably the same reason I stated in my Terminator 2 review. Probably the reason that they didn't was because of the fact that the rights were so up in the air that they just, I don't know, they didn't know what to, like, it took them so long. And Warner Brothers finally struck on it, unfortunately. So, Terminator 3 is about John Connor as an adult, unfortunately, and he is a bum, basically, and he finds out that the Terminators are still trying to kill him. Man, John Connor, man, that man must have needed several weeks of therapy as a child. So, as you can already tell by the tone of my voice, I fucking hate this movie with a passion. Kevin, what do you think of Terminator 3?
I'm gonna say exactly what I told you before I got on. I didn't mind the central idea, like the main plot points, but everything else, I was just dumbfounded by everything. I was just, what is going on?
That's a pretty legit description of me watching this movie. You watch the action sequence, and mind you, we just came off Terminator 2, regarded as one of the greatest action sequences of action movies of all time. And then we get to here, where it's just nothing but CGI that looks like a fucking Looney Tunes episode. Guys, oh my god. Did I really need to see a fully CGI Arnold? Did I really need to see that? I'm gonna go through the positives and negatives. I'll say this is my one positive. The ending of this movie is very good. That is my only positive for this movie. I like the end of this movie. The way it ends, how they don't win in the end. I like how they don't win. You know, I have this weird thing with me where I like unhappy endings. That's just me as a person. I don't like happy endings. A movie like Infinity War, I love the ending too because it ends with the heroes losing. I like that. But I do like this ending, how they don't save it and how her father just sent her to a bunker because she was gonna be safe. I like that. That's it. Other than that, I fucking hate this movie. My biggest issue with this movie is that it feels unnecessary. You look at the ending of Terminator 2, and they destroy Arnold, and they destroy the T-1000 because, you know, if they didn't, that the Terminators were still gonna get made. So they destroy Arnold, they destroy the T-1000, so that way the, Terminators won't get made, and humanity had a chance, or whatever, right? So then we get to this movie, and we find out, oh yeah, the war is still gonna happen. So, what was the point of Terminator 2? Realistically, what is the point of Terminator 2? It basically tells Sarah Connor, who they fucking killed off in this movie. They pulled an Alien 3, one of the 2 times they pulled an Alien 3 in this franchise, but we're not there yet. They pulled an Alien 3 and killed off the characters that lived. Well, not characters, they just killed Sarah Connor, who lived in the second movie, to then kill her off because she had cancer or something. What?
Hmm?
That's like killing off Darth Vader because he had a stroke. I fucking hate when movies do this shit, bro. So, yeah, so Sarah Connor's dead, and John Connor's just living like a bum. Okay, whatever. First, speaking of John Connor, he's fucking miserable in this movie. He is unbearable in this movie. What's the actor's name? I need to... Do you like John Connor? As I don't.
It was just like... I think just what you said in the beginning, I was like, he was just a bum.
Nick Stahl was the person who played John Connor. Horrendous. Now, I heard Jai Courtney is the worst John Connor. I'm gonna put this out there. Just putting that out there. It's because of some of the things that I've heard. But that comes in a couple of days. But yeah, I don't like John Connor at all in this movie. He's just a little bitch. I don't know. Like, the only thing I liked was the fact that he was like, the one line where he goes, oh, I never wanted any of this. I never wanted to be portrayed as this messiah or god. You know, I just had this thrown on me. I like that. That's the only scene I like from him, when he tells Arnold that. Other than that, I fucking despise him. Speaking of Arnold, Arnold is terrible in this movie too. I hate Arnold in this movie. He's not like, you know, when he shows up, you're like, yeah, my boy Arnold. But then they just like make him a clown, bro. They make him just idiot. I don't know. I didn't like Arnold at all in this movie. I thought he was actually terrible. They ruined him to me. This was when, and speaking of that, the humor in this movie, who wrote this, bro? Who wrote this humor? Some of the humor in this movie, oh my god, it was, I don't think I laughed one time. I think I laughed one time when Arnold locked Kate in the truck, and she was like, wait, I thought you said you were gonna let me out, and he goes, I lied. That was funny. Other than that, I don't think I laughed at Arnold one time. And again, I'm not blaming it on Schwarzenegger, because we just had 2 movies where he was amazing. It's like they saw Terminator 2 and were like, oh, well, people liked how he was kind of a friendly person, how he wasn't a murderer, so we're just gonna elevate that to 11. No. I don't know whose call was that, but my god. Speaking of Kate, I like Kate. I like the character of Kate. You know, she's cool, she does what she gotta do, she doesn't bother me. The one thing I'll say about this movie that I think it does right is that it continues the arc from Terminator. Like, Terminator 1, 2, and 3 feels like a continuous arc. It doesn't feel like this is unnecessary. Well, it does feel like it is unnecessary, but in terms of John Connor, you know, you go from Sarah Connor to then John Connor as a child, and then him as an adult. I guess that as an arc kind of works, but the movie itself, nothing in the movie feels important. You know, it sucks that I'm saying that about a Terminator movie, but realistically, you know, you look at Terminator 2, every single plot point in Terminator 2 feels important. Everything from, you know, getting Sarah Connor to going to the factory to blowing up the factory to then, you know, the ending and with Arnold dying or the T-800 dying, whatever. You know, everything in that movie feels important. Nothing in this movie feels important. I haven't even talked about the biggest negative yet. The TX is fucking horrendous. I hate the T. Did you hate the TX as much as I did?
No, I didn't like her, but not like I just hated her.
Okay, it's not that I hated her. It's just that you look at Terminator 2. Terminator 2 had the T-1000, bro. One of the greatest movie villains of all time. And then you go to like this cyborg, like super advanced, you know, version of the Terminator. Nothing. Somebody made a video about Terminator 3 and said every Terminator movie they try to up the ante with the Terminator. And then they said this, that nothing will top the T-1000. And that is 100% right. Why would you try to top the T-1000? The Terminator, I'm gonna use a term that, you know, teenagers use. The T-1000 is OP as shit. You can't top that. They tried it and miserably failed, dude. The TX is just this, like, cyborg that, like, has, like, fucking lasers coming out her hands. She can weaken Arnold. It's like, come on, bro. Give me a break. This is ridiculous, dude. And then, like, their fight scenes are so bad. They're so bad. Let's get into this. The special effects are terrible. They're terrible, man. Even the T-1000 special effects in Terminator 2, you can kind of forgive it because it looks realistic. It doesn't look like garbage. It doesn't look like G.I. Joe. You seen that shit? That's I lost my words. That is shit CGI right there. But, you know, the CGI on the T-1000 never looked like, oh my god, that just looks terrible. Yeah, it looks a little wonky because it's the 8 or the 90s, but, you know, why are you gonna complain when everything around you is so great? What else? That's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to say. Terminator 3 is horrendous. Do you have anything else to add? I don't have anything else to add.
Nah, I just felt like some of the stuff just didn't make a lot of sense, especially trying to think of an example that I said. When Arnold drove the truck into TX, it just didn't look real. And the car never hit Catherine. It was like, how the fuck did that happen?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the set pieces. I didn't even talk about that. The action set pieces in this movie is just like, you know how people call Transformers Revenge of the Fallen noise? Like it's just like things happening. That's what these action sequences feel like. They don't feel like they have any weight. You look at the action sequences in T2 and it's like that truck chase. You know, it's like, oh, like, it's high stakes. John is on the bike, like, oh no, what's gonna happen? This movie, it's just buildings blowing up. And you don't care because they didn't build up John Connor in a way. You know what they did? They expected you to get on John Connor's side because we've already seen a movie with him. Newsflash. When you change the actor, it makes it hard to relate to them. Can you imagine if in every other movie they changed the actor for Iron Man? Nobody would give a shit about him. What's the point? I don't understand why you just couldn't get Edward Furlong back to play John Connor. What was so hard about that?
I feel like the only problem would be the fact that, you know, he is... How old was he? I don't know.
He's 13 in Terminator 2. And this movie took place 18 years after Terminator 2. So I'm assuming he'd be like 21. He would be the perfect age. Oh, I mean a little younger, but he would be perfectly serviceable. I don't know. This movie is a joke. I don't have anything else to add. I fucking hate this movie. I think it was a waste of time. I hated watching it. Other than the end, I'll say this, it sets up Salvation in a good way. Which we'll talk about in a couple of days, but I'll give it that. It set up Salvation in a convincing way. That was it. Other than that, I fucking hate this movie, and the dip in quality from T2 to Terminator 3 is just offensive, honestly. It's like you make one of the greatest action movies of all time, and then you make this steaming pile of shit. Oh, I'm done. There you go. That's your professional review of Terminator 3. I have nothing else to add. This movie's an abomination. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you like this, please leave a like and subscribe and be on the lookout for our review of Terminator Salvation sooner rather than later. And stay safe. And yeah, see ya.